Alright everyone, the legacy media is backing off its Covington position right now, which basically makes sense because they were totally wrong. The thing is, when you have 4 or 5 different camera angles of an event, and you have totally 180'd the actual story of what happened, to literally give people an inverted reality about that situation, especially when you have a politically partisan audience that you're trying to basically shill to. Like all the left-wing sites are like, well, these scumbag Covington kids are a bunch of bigots, look at them surround and harass this Native American. In reality, the opposite is true. They were being approached by other groups after already having been antagonized by a group that even the SPLC calls a hate group. By the way, I don't think that terminology has any meaning, but you get what I mean. So it's funny to watch them have to back off their 3-day-long position and finally break ranks, because usually you're unsuccessful in getting them to apologize for anything. So yesterday you get the New York Times saying, well, maybe we need to show more restraint. This is destroying lives. People need to be more responsible. And then they invoke social media. Now, that's half right. They're correct in that social media allows the sort of viral spread of such stories, but who actually promulgated it in the first place and put out the initial impression in their audience's minds, who then took to social media? Who put the original impression in their minds that the Covington kids had gone up to and antagonized people on the basis of their ethnicity? The legacy media did. Groups like CNN and the New York Times and all of these others. By the way, CNN News actually getting the initial shit poster that was claiming that it was like hateful and evil and wrong, getting them banned off of Twitter. So that was really funny. It's like a little bit of backstabbing there. And then the National Review apologizes, which isn't it one of those neocon outlets? What are they? Isn't it Bill Kristol's people or something like that? I don't know. I don't keep up with it. It's like the Blazes and Glenn Beck's, maybe even Breitbart at this point in many cases. A lot of times, groups that you would assume wouldn't at least have a politically partisan axe to grind and thus would have a little more restraint, even they dogpile the individual just, again, to get that hot take, to get the advertising clicks, number one, and it's a big economic reason for it, and number two, virtue signaling, trying to improve their brand and escape punishment for their partisan views. Now, Ramsey had an interesting take the other day where he's like, well, just stop apologizing because these people are nuts, they're not going to let it go anyway. Although I may not agree with every aspect of the things he believes in, he is fundamentally correct. When has apologizing done anything for anybody in the social media era? The legacy media never is asked to apologize. In fact, if you look at their articles, it's a bunch of fluff pieces towards one another. They're like, oh, don't beat up on the media, we're still important, please help us. But the problem is this, they have to do this sort of thing. Because hot takes, and the New York Times, semi-apology today is like, well, hot takes can be problematic. Yes, they can, but you've got no choice but to be tabloids now in today's era. What ends up happening is that you've got a situation because of the internet, where within 10 minutes something has gone totally viral. How then are they supposed to compete with people that basically, like in my setup, say there's a big breaking news story. My analysis, it can take 10 minutes. I hook up the webcam, I turn it on, I start recording, I pop it on YouTube and then, feed it into these other sites. That's all I have to do. If I had to go through a bunch of editors and a bunch of, basically paperwork bureaucracy in order to get something uploaded to YouTube, now wouldn't it be a little bit more difficult? Which is exactly why they're trying to do everything they can to strangulate the alt media, by the way. They're doing that specifically because the flow of information is now too quick to be properly fact-checked. And when they say, well, these sites need to crack down on fake news, look at the Covington case. Who promulgated that obviously and objectively fake news? Is anyone going to hold them accountable? I hope that the lawsuits, that a bunch of litigation takes hold and these groups get drained like they've been vampirized. I hope the Covington kids do take it all. I don't even care if they give it to a pro-choice group. I mean a pro-life group. By the way, I'm pro-choice. I know some people have a problem with that. I don't stand with the March of Life, but I mean, the bunch of high schoolers are standing there not doing anything, and they called them a bunch of desperate bigots. It was rather funny. The biggest takeaway for me, though, is that doesn't this corroborate everything that I and others have said for like 3 fucking years with regards to the lamestream media and how it was going to suffer this specific kind of mental breakdown? They can no longer properly fact-check things because they have to rush everything out in the social media generation. How then are they any different or potentially more accurate than any randomly chosen person already on social media who isn't themselves strictly journalistic in the sense of like being there actually streaming live, giving raw footage or something, getting a raw interview or something like that. No, then that material, anybody else under the sun, myself, or whether it's me, or some seven-figure pundit at the New York Times, we're ultimately going to have the same basic set of problems. Therefore, the only advantage you can have is that you feel compelled to bother to fact-check it yourself. Did anybody do that in the case of Covington? No. The legacy media didn't bother to do that. They said, wow, look at this footage. And they saw, their gut reaction was, hey, here's a bunch of white MAGA hat-wearing kids surrounding some dude with a drum. They're mocking him. But that's not true. You see, it was selectively edited, and so they got totally hoodwinked, exposing exactly the problem with the legacy media. They want money. It's all about the money. Their attacks on alt media, it's about money. We're out competing them. Their attacks on alt tech. Alt tech platforms their competitors. It's like they were late to the party. Here's a big thing. Like with YouTube and stuff, you look at CNN's channel, they have a lot of subscribers, how many views, how much interaction do they get? They were late to the party, they got completely sideswiped and outmaneuvered by the alt media, and now they're worried that older guard of Silicon Valley, if it ever has problems, now they're worried about having to jump to alt tech and reestablish themselves a second time. Oh, it'd kill half of them off. They wouldn't be able to make the jump. They're not interesting enough to go in with that kind of audience anyway. Which would you rather have? Let's say there are two competing streams on an event, a speech, debate analysis, whatever it happens to be. One of the people, you can interact with them. They're interpersonal. They're not living a penthouse existence. They're not just a talking head. You can meet them in the street. Maybe they'll even fucking talk to you. They can say fuck. They can say shit, they can say swear words, and they can do innuendos and stuff. Or someone who's really stuffy, makes 6-7 figures, they wear the tweed coat, and they never swear. They never say anything that their editor didn't tell them to say. Which one are you, and they're probably 30 years older, which one do you think the average person's going to find more interesting? Yeah, the legacy media has a few more problems than I think that they can solve with the Covington case. I hope I never have to make another video on the topic, because once they start apologizing and backing off of their initial position, the initial reaction of anyone, in all honesty, is to say, no, I'm right, even when confronted with evidence otherwise. Once you hit a certain threshold, sane people begin to back off. Watching them shamefacedly have to back off of the hill they chose to fight on is really, really funny. And once they start backing down, look, they'll go hush-hush. No more stories about Covington, they'll say, because it makes us look bad. We don't want people to keep talking about this issue. So I don't have to apologize for my initial video, which, got banned for the first 2 days it was up, and so didn't get as many views as it otherwise would have had. I have a feeling it would have been quite popular. It's stuck under 20K, so yeah, thanks. But at least it got restored. I don't have any strikes on my account. I can stream and so forth. It's funny to watch the New York Times and national reviews of the world have to apologize. They should have apologized right away. Because within a few hours, it was already evident to anyone that bothered to look at the footage, hey, the initial story looks kind of false. Maybe we shouldn't be crucifying a bunch of minors here and proclaiming them to be evil and getting them doxxed and threatened. Their school has to close down. They get bomb threats and shit. That's not real journalism. That's a bunch of tabloid gossip sputum. And in the post-Trump era especially, really, the legacy media have been turned into tabloids. They've been addicted to tabloid heroin. I pointed that out in 2015, and a lot of people said that no, indeed, they'll be able to solve their problems because, corporate monopolies. Oh, it's never happened before. Don't worry about it too much. Again, short-term pain, long-term gain. It's going to be really funny watching these goofballs collapse, and a lot of these people get fired. I think that several firings have already happened. They should all be sued for libel. It's cut and dry, so... yeah, it's pretty funny. That's about all. Peace out.